You better find the skin real quick.
I ain't no math major, but I'm a hustler. Hey, well, fuck it. I'll go home tonight. I'll drink my yak and smoke my stick, and I'll get it back cracking. Yeah, we are in the building. Slap Nation, stand up. Brand new show for a brand new crowd. LA Fanatics, stand up. We got a lot going on. All things LA right here on the Slap Nation. You can get this Slap t-shirt right here at CoachJBStore.com. So go check it out. You get that Slap merch, a whole part of the website dedicated to Slap merch, Slap Nation. So head on over there right now, CoachJBStore.com. My main man Bailey's going to do the show with me, co-host this extraordinary LA adventure, Slap Nation. We're going to talk about Rams, Dodgers, Lakers, you name it, but mostly UCLA, USC football as we head into the spring, plus the Rams and the Chargers that are the two pro teams right here in LA, plus a little Raiders talk since Pete Carroll's taken over and the Raiders used to be in LA. It's a West Coast, closest thing you can get to LA. So we're going to talk any breaking news that happens with the Raiders right here on the Slap Nation new show. So Bailey, what's up, Bailey? You're in the building. You want to do this? This is an idea of yours. We got together. We said, fuck it, we'll do a LA show for an LA fan base that I think is starving for, I don't know, a show. LA doesn't have a show out here on the West Coast. I don't know why. They don't have anything that covers everybody, at least somebody doing it, not a bunch of fucking nobody doing it. But we'll see, man. We'll try to blow this thing up, and we're going to do it right now on Mondays at this time. So make sure you tune in, and then maybe we'll be going to a couple more days a week once we get this thing going. So pound that like, subscribe, become a member if you're not one. Members, we'll do some call-ins, take some call-ins, and we'll have some LA guests join the show, whether it's a high school football coach in LA, college LA coach, player, or pro. So we'll have them on. E-Dub, Eric Weddle will join us on occasion to talk Chargers and Rams since he played for both. And we're going to cover some LA high school football with a couple legendary coaches will join us as well. So we're going to do that.
Yep. Coach, looking forward. This is going to be a great show covering all things LA and Southern California sports, even the Raiders. Got to keep the Raiders in there with Pete Carroll. High school, as you mentioned as well. Got a couple coaches we expect to bring on the show as well. But, man, I look forward to the future of the show. It's all us watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and become a member of Slap Nation. Coach, let's get into it on this fine Monday. I think you have a rant to start off with. The Lakers and LeBron. LeBron announced in this press conference here that he is not going to be playing in the All-Star game due to ankle soreness. Before you give your rant, I want to show LeBron announcing this. Take a listen.
From you tonight? You won't see anything from me tonight. Unfortunately, I would not be in uniform tonight. Still dealing with ankle and foot discomfort, so I will not be playing tonight, unfortunately. I hate that, but I'm looking forward to seeing the format. This is the first year for it. I know we got a lot of great – call us the OGs. That's hilarious. We do got a few guys with gray hairs, so that – it makes sense, but that should be fun. I saw the quote the other day with DK with somebody who's going to play against me, so I guess I'll see him at practice, and hopefully I'll be in practice. We can go at it then.
Coach, I know you got something to say to LeBron. I'll kind of let you have the stage. What are your thoughts on this? Go ahead.
Let's eliminate the GOAT talk. We have to start there. Stop with the GOAT shit. He ain't even top 10 in my book. That's my opinion. Who grew up in the real era of basketball. There's just no way. Stop with the GOAT shit. Like, this is just a mockery. Adam Silver in the NBA is ruined forever. There's a white dude, G League two-way player who is asked to save the NBA All-Star game by winning the dunk contest 3 years in a row. That's an absolute mockery. This guy don't even fucking play. He hasn't scored a point all year in the NBA on Orlando Magic. He's a two-way player. He can't fucking play dead in a Western. He can jump real high. You know how many guys could jump real high when I was growing up that never got a chance to go from what they did, playing and one, street ball, from helicopter, Dennis Johnson's brother, to fucking Earl Manigault. None of them got to go to the NBA All-Star game and dunk. You know why? Because real basketball players were great dunkers. Dominique Wilkins, fucking Jordan. How could Jordan, the GOAT, participate, but LeBron's not one time entered a dunk contest? Not one time in his life, but he wants to be called the GOAT because he's scared. He's scared. He doesn't want to get shown up by somebody. He's never entered the dunk contest. For him to come out before the game and say he's not playing is an absolute joke. I don't know anybody out there who thinks he should actually be considered in the GOAT conversation. If you really do after this weekend, then you're just a fucking LeBron fanboy, sexual, that just can't get over himself and thinks this guy really, because he's played longer, Bailey, that he's better. No, just because you play longer doesn't mean you're better. Just FYI. This guy is a joke. You know the opportunity that people missed out on because this guy, and I'm very disappointed in a young star as well, Anthony Edwards, also pulled a LeBron. But this is what leaders do. Leaders create more leaders, not more followers. If the leader, LeBron, says I'm out, guess who else follows? Younger guys. And, man, you know what? The bottom line is Anthony Edwards also cowered it out. And I got to be honest. You know how many good players could have got in this thing? Like, what's his name? Scotty Barnes or whatever. What about the kid for the Clippers who's had a great year, didn't get invited? There's a lot of young talent that did not get invited. And then these two guys want to cop out last minute, last day. And it's too late to get another recovery or a replacement player in. To me, it screams coward. It screams, I can't wait for LA Lakers to become the LA Lakers again by getting rid of this dude, getting rid of fucking Jeannie Buss, who, by the way, Jeannie Buss is married, but she lives on the third floor and her husband on the first floor.
Oh, man.
Norman Powell had an unbelievable year. Because he plays for the shitty JV Clippers, he didn't get an invite because of these all-star votes, the way the fans are placed to vote these guys in. This guy gets in, of course, LeBron, LeBum, whatever you want to call him. He ain't in my top 10 all time, dog. I'm tired of hearing about the dude. I can't wait to cook Smitty next week when we're back on the Coach AB show. This guy's a bum. He's an absolute bum. He is a mockery, and Adam Silver seems to do whatever he says. But I had to lead in with LeBron James copping out, Bailey, because he's an LA Laker right now, and the Lakers are one of my storied favorite franchises growing up. Kareem, Magic, Worthy, Coop, all these guys, and then it comes Kobe and Shaq, and then they dominate, win the last NBA team to win three-peat. I'm like, the LA Lakers have become a mockery, and now they go get Luka, and I'm just trying to figure out what this is going to become, but they're not going to ever be great again until Jeannie Buss and LeBron are gone. By the way, women just aren't great leaders. Let's be honest. Not in sports. Women, you guys kill it in a lot of other shit. Sports, it's not your shit. Not to lead in it. They're just sorry. It's just not. So, women, please give us our safe spaces back.
Yeah, and Connect trade, Tennessee's finest Dalton Connect, the trade was rescinded, so now they have to go take him back. Like it's an interesting state the Lakers are in. Coach, man, let's get into it. This is a big topic we got to discuss here. We're gonna call it Raiders, but this is a big topic across sports media. 12 years after Bullygate with the Rich Incognito and ex-Dolphins offensive lineman Jonathan Martin. Turns out all fake. It was all a lie. Read an excerpt from Jonathan Martin. He says, "I never believed for a second I was being bullied." Man, Coach, 12 years later, this comes out. Obviously, cost of Richie Incognito a whole season, kind of being blackballed from the NFL. He's still, 4-time Pro Bowler, but his career was never the same after this Bullygate scandal and saga. We've seen him come out on Twitter, just saying he couldn't cut it in the NFL, so he quit, and his mom blamed me. Legacy media pushed this narrative along far. Too bad it was all a lie. Coach, I think you have some insight on the situation and thoughts. Go ahead.
It's gay. That's what it was. This kid is so soft. This guy right here, I called it out years ago when I said, man, this shit is soft. This guy didn't do it. I actually talked to Richie about this whole thing years ago. This kid right here wanted attention. He was like a Michael Sam of the NFL, an absolute mockery. He was soft as doo-doo, and he wanted attention, period, point blank. There's nothing else about it. He is one of the originators of why football has become what it has become. Soft, cancel culture vultures run the locker room, waiting to tell on you and tattletale on you, and go bring bullying back. Mm-hmm. Incognito was just a regular football guy playing football. And this dude wanted to make up all this shit, man. Like, I don't get it. Go back to the Pouncey twins, because I'm going to get Mike and them on here. Mm-hmm. This is us bullying Mike Pouncey for wearing a blanket during a buggy ride to dinner in Indianapolis the night before the game. This was 2013.
Looks pretty happy to me. I don't.
And we'll get Pouncey on here. We'll get the Pouncey twins on like we've had before, and they're gonna laugh. They're gonna laugh at everybody out there who thought this was a real bullying type of thing. It's unbelievable, man, that they gave this guy, basically blackballed this guy. They basically blackballed him.
They did blackball him, no doubt. They
blackballed him. They blackballed Richie for a long time. I think even Gruden talked about it and other guys talked about it. This is a scandal that just deserves some retribution. I mean, this is like a Netflix scandal. Like, pay the man now. Shit. Like, I can't believe this is a bullying. We need to bring bullying back, man. This is really what we need to bring back, because this is what it was. Football used to be a real gladiator sport played by men. And now, and this wasn't like, they were tying the guy up and handcuffing. Like, come on, man. Bullying used to be just fun and games in the locker room by veterans to let you know where your place was on the table. Like, hey, Martin, your place on the table is at the end right now. You're a youngster. You need to learn the ropes, and we're going to fuck with you. I mean, come on, dog. Every rookie used to be hazed, get thrown in the ice bath. We used to tie them up to the goalpost and throw flour and eggs at them. It wasn't a demeaning thing. It was joke. It was a clown. It was to put you in your place, to know your pecking order is down here. You need to become this guy, and that's the steps you got to take. Bring it back, man. And by the way, every single situation that we hear about that are somebody tattletale and told on somebody, have you noticed it's all coming back later? Fake news.
Yeah. It's ironic.
All fucking fake. And you want to really ruin a guy's life. And it's all been fake. All this shit's fake. And now you're seeing this again. It's just ridiculous, man. Like, this guy should never get a coaching job. If he wants to try to coach, he should never be able to allow it in the NFL. And his pension should be snatched from him, to be real. Take his pension. Yeah. He's got an NFL pension. Take it.
Yeah, and I think Jonathan Martin's in like crypto or Bitcoin or some shit. But Coach, can you speak to like being blackballed? Because Richie Incognito, I mean, he was blackballed from the NFL, missed a whole season from this from a suspension. Can you speak to being blackballed and how this, kind of really affected his career?
Hell yeah. Like, shit, that's what it is right now. Like, I'm dealing with it every day. This is what you do. They can really make a narrative and then create this narrative about you and run with it. And if you don't stand up for it and you just lay down and take it, then that is who you'll be known for. That is who you'll be known as. And I refuse to do it. I refuse to die in this casket getting buried or whatever the fuck happens to me as the guy that just went with the flow. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go with the flow, dog. I want you to answer for your lies. You lied about me. Why haven't you seen kids talk about me in a negative way? Why have all my players came on my show? Why are people defending me online other than anyone that never played for me? If you played for me or coached for me, why haven't I heard from you saying that I'm this guy that Netflix painted me as? I'll wait, as y'all say. I'll continue to wait because I ain't never seen it. Richie Cognito had every single player for him back him up that knew him. Said, man, that's a lie. Richie's a hell of a dude. He's a fucking football player, and he's a great, loyal teammate that stands with his brothers. That's all I ever heard. Yeah. But this one soft, weak little boy bashed his name, and look what happens. Yeah. You get fucking this. Like, I'm just saying. It's very ironic, Bailey. Let's take in racism out of the end zones in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But then we got K-Dot, who's a Compton native, not my Compton native, this new generation Compton who wears bell-bottom tight jeans and shit. He does a show, though, by the way, as a black man, and this is what's interesting. My boys that were at the party was like, you know something, JB? And this is a brother, an OG brother that actually been around him his whole life in Compton. Right. Who played wide receiver for me at Compton, was at the party. You got to meet him. Yep. His son's a big-time player out here at Servite. He's like, this is the funny part. As a hood brother coming from Compton, and he has to tell me, a white dude, this, and it opened my eyes. He said this, and now I've seen other people say it online all of a sudden. We end racism in the end zone, but then we got a black rapper with all black cats on his stage representing him, dancing with him, catered to an all-black audience, but in racism. Yeah. That's a black dude that told me that. That's a black dude that told me that. LA rapper, see, we're on Slap Nation, an LA show. An LA rapper goes out to New Orleans to do it. And goddamn it, what a slap in the face this is to everybody. It's a joke. The NFL, the NBA, Adam Silver, Roger Goodell are clowns. They're ruining the two largest pro sports, period. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a joke, man. It's a joke. But that's where we are in life nowadays.
It is where we are. And one thing you mentioned about going back to Incognito is kind of how do you respond to being blackballed? I mean, he went on to play, respond and play in the NFL for a really long time, have a long, 12, 13-year career. So, I mean, it's how you respond to that because, I mean you
were too young, Bailey. I remember when this all happened, and it was a joke. Like, it was an absolute joke. And I was like, what the hell? And then all these different things kept resurfacing up, and all these things surfaced. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And then this Martin cat wanted a trade, and then he wanted out. He was so victimized. He played the victim card so hard that they ran him out. And then the NFL was like trying to beat his ass. I knew for a fact a bunch of NFL players wanted to beat his ass because they knew Richie was a real one. Right. They knew Richie was a regular football Joe who just came to work, busted his ass, was a team guy and loyal to his teammates, and was just a player in the locker room, dog. He was like a fuck around, cool with me, you know what I'm saying? This guy, Jonathan Martin, is such a bitch. And he literally ruined a dude's career that was just a football guy who wanted to go to work and be loyal to his teammates, be nasty up front, which he was, and never was the same. Never was the same. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it's ironic, and it's apparently, he never believed he was bullied, and it was his mom pushing the whole thing. Like his mom was trying to push this whole Bullygate saga. I mean, what does that say to the parents of this kid, and who's now he's way older now? But what are your thoughts?
That's what I'm saying. This is the guy that. This is the reason. That's why I say he was the start of this whole cancel culture vulture. Mm-hmm. He had a weak ass parent, a mom who wanted to push this, and then you saw what you saw the rise of right after this. Soft ass trainers, soft ass QB coaching, doing the 7-on-7 shit. You saw a rise in soft football because the parents became helicopter parents because of the Jonathan Martin case. Go look it up. His mama was a frontliner in being this soft helicopter parent, and this guy was in the NFL. Bailey, it wasn't like this guy was in Pop Warner. He's an NFL player needing his fucking mommy to back him.
Yeah,
now again, we just talked about Bailey LeBron James being the guy that was the forefather of this thing. He said, "Oh, I'm not going to play today, day of the game." So guess who followed suit? Anthony Edwards. "Oh, I'm not going to play either." And then you got all these other guys that will say, "Well, if LeBron did it, I'm going to do it." If an NFL parent of a current player comes out and plays victimhood and claims all this soft shit about his son, who's a grown man making millions of dollars as an O-lineman for the Dolphins, if she comes out, you don't think that Pop Warner high school and youth kids and college parents are going to come out and be the helicopter parent they become? This is the forefront of it all, man. I was talking to Weddle the other day about this. This guy started a lot of this shit we see today. And this guy should be fucking disbarred from any type of pension or any future protection the NFL gives their former players if they give it anyway. But you should talk to Tank Johnson and some other guys about this guy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Big Matt will definitely have a take on this as well. But man, it's ironic. 12 years later, this is all coming out to be a complete fucking lie. Unbelievable. And Richie Incognito's going at it as he should, because it really did affect his career negatively. So, man, Coach, good rant here. Let's move forward here and talk some SC Trojans football. And you kind of spoke on this briefly, but Rob Ryan. Rob Ryan's been brought in as assistant head coach for defense and coaching linebackers. And big talk around SC is how he'll impact the USC defense, who, Lincoln Riley is known for having great offense but not great defense, but he brings in a guy like Rob Ryan. I know you have had an interesting take on Rob Ryan a couple weeks ago on your own show, but now let's talk here. What are your thoughts on Rob Ryan and how he will impact USC football and the defense?
I think he'll bring energy. He's going to bring a tenacious approach to the football field. If 11 guys don't run to the ball, the problem is this is the old football. If this was me and Rob and Rex and his daddy Buddy and we were coaching, let's say in the 90s, we would use a term. If you don't run 11 hats to the football, we will skull fuck you. Now my problem is he can't skull fuck you no more, and he probably can't even say that no more because these little soft pussies, the Jonathan Martin parents of the world, and their catered little pussy kids will eventually cry, and they'll run up the ladder and go to Lincoln Riley and say, "Rob Ryan yelled at me. My mommy wants me to enter the transfer portal." That's the problem, baby, that I see happening here with Rob Ryan. Rob Ryan has coached college a long time. He's a JUCO guy, by the way. He was a DC at Hutch JUCO like 96, 97 in Kansas. He understands every dynamic of every single layer of football. He's been a grad assistant at Ohio State. He coached at Ohio State. He coached at Western Kentucky. He was at Tennessee Chattanooga or something when he was a young coach. He's coached everywhere and every level. So he understands every layer of every kid possible. He can get through to all of them. But will they allow him to get through to them? That's the question. Because we are in this culture we just discussed with Jonathan Martin and Incognito, can this guy have the effect? Because sometimes when you need to be broken, there's layers to being broken. and you have to actually, shape the horse and whip his ass and beat him down and then get him in shape and then understand. Then they find out, oh, coach loves me. He doesn't hate me. He actually loves me because he took the time to break me down so I don't fail later. I succeed later rather than now, and he takes away all my bad little nooks and crannies and all these cracks I have on the surface. He's going to sand those things down, Bailey. And then you may not be ready year 1, but in year 4, you'll be a better human, you'll be a better player, and you'll have tougher skin.
Yep.
Nowadays, we don't allow that shit. We don't allow it, Bailey. They transfer too early now because they get yelled at. Now they got to go leave, and now they got to enter a transfer portal, and then they get yelled at by that coach. They leave another school and go to another place. Just bring back coaching again. We're not here to harm you, son. Like, people need to understand, we don't coach so we can, harm you. Like, what the fuck? Like, what do we get out of harming you, kid? Why would we recruit you? Like, this is, we got to get over this shit. And so I think Rob Ryan's going to suffer from that effect because kids won't be able to take that shit because they haven't heard us, Bailey. They've been coddled by their Pop Warner and high school coaches up to this day. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to get a former NFL guy who's one of the legendary sons of an NFL 4'6" bare front inventor, and Buddy Ryan is going to absolute motherfuck their son, and he's going to look like, dude, what did you call me? And they're going to enter the portal. And I hope and pray, Bailey, that Rob Ryan can sustain it, get through it, and actually be there for a while. But I have a gut feeling, man, that he'll be fucking fired for some bullshit bitch kid accusation, assumption, or some sort of fucking finger pointing that says Rob Ryan did this, did that to me, and he'll be fired because there's a reason why he hasn't jumped into college coaching in the last few years, and I don't know. I don't get it now. Hopefully he's following Bill Belichick's footsteps and saying, well, fuck, if Bill can do it, I'm going to do it. And that's what I think. That's what I hear. Some things are going on. Older coaches are like, well, fuck it. Let's get it back and let's get the reins back on these kids, so to speak. I don't know if it's going to happen here. You're at a place at USC, which is highly liberal, left-winged, and you have an LA mayor who fucking rather run around with Mina Kimes and fucking start fires than deal with coaching and hard-nosed fucking football. So we're going to see. Interesting.
Well, I got to ask you, in your initial rant on Rob Ryan, you had concerns that, talking about Lincoln Riley and what Lincoln wouldn't allow Rob to do and not to do. First, let me get your thoughts on Lincoln Riley headed into this next season and your thoughts on him bringing in Rob Ryan and how that interaction and relationship will go.
I don't know. From what I understand is Rob and Rex would go often to Oklahoma while Lincoln was the head coach there. Mm-hmm. They had built a relationship. Rob and Ryan also had a relationship with the Stoops, obviously, and Bob Stoops in particular, and they had a relationship. Rob and Ryan grew up in Oklahoma for a while when their mom and dad divorced and split, and one left, and the mom stayed in Canada. The dad moved to Oklahoma. Obviously, Rob played in Oklahoma. That's the correlation here. That's where the connection happened, because Rob and Ryan and Rex just seems the polar opposite of Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the correlation. That's how the connection occurred. And then they kept in touch. And then Lincoln reached out to Rob and said, hey, man, I want to try to fix this thing because this is probably my last year here at USC if I don't get this thing figured out. Remember, USC lost to all the M's last year. Michigan, Minnesota, Maryland. How the fuck do you lose to those three teams and you're at USC? Mm-hmm. So when he lost to the three M's, he had to go and say, let's get this defense shored up. And so USC and Lincoln Riley could score points and all that, fine and dandy. But if you can't stop a cold in Alaska, then you're not going to be around very long. And so Lincoln Riley figured out, I better go get an OG defensive mind that I don't have to worry about. And I can just focus on the offense, get me another big-time QB or keep who we got and build around that. and let Rob take care. Remember, Rob's a phone call away from his brother, who was one of the best defensive minds in football when he was with the head coach for the Jets, who gave Belichick a lot of fits his run there in New York.
Yeah.
Constant playoff team in New York. Rex Ryan's defense was top-notch, but he had players, of course. Rob's a phone call away from Rex, and that mind and those two minds together. And, I'm sure Rex will be out here in L.A. vacationing this summer and this spring, hanging out with Rob. And I don't know. I love Rob Ryan. I love Rex Ryan. I love Buddy Ryan. I love the Ryan family. I love the tree. I love the mind. I love the defensive prowess. I love the mentality that's played on defense by the Ryan brothers. Can he do it now, though, with these current kids? I don't know. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the kids are coddled too much. They're going to be and they're allowed to do too much. If you didn't allow them to enter the portal so quickly, then I could say you have a shot. But since you allow them to leave the portal and enter it so quickly, that hurts a guy like Rob Ryan. So, gonna see.
Well, you mentioned the relationship, Rob Ryan and Lincoln Riley, and I know it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, whether Rob can help USC defensively. But Rob Ryan in a press conference was talking about Lincoln Riley, and he compares Lincoln Riley to Sean McVay in terms of offensive mind. Take a listen to this and get your response.
Lincoln Riley is right there with McVay. They're the best offensive coaches, best guys in the country. I don't care what what league it is or whatever it is. That's just the truth. And I've been around some pretty good ones. I've been around Bill Belichick. I've been around Al Davis. I've been around Sean Payton, all these guys. These are the best offensive coaches in the country. So,
your thoughts on Rob Ryan's comments there, Coach?
I agree. Lincoln's a great offensive coordinator. Like, he's a great play caller. Now, let me clarify that there's a difference between a great play caller and play designer, and then a play coordinator. There's a huge difference. Mike Martz was a play designer and a play caller, meaning he knew what down and distance to call what great play.
Right.
Lincoln Riley, I witnessed over the years lose games because he's a great play designer, but not the greatest coordinator. Coordinating means you call the right play at the right time, Bailey, not just make pretty plays and make them great, pretty plays. Sean McVay should have ran the football, but I'm not going to ever second-guess Sean McVay. Lincoln Riley is nowhere close to Sean McVay, number one. Number two, Lincoln's a great play designer, but he struggles when you're up and you need to run the football. He wants to look pretty and throw the football, and guess what? That's how they lost to Michigan. Go look it up. Go watch that game. All you had to do was run the football and punt it, and then Michigan would never have had the time with a non-throwing quarterback on the other side to beat you. Michigan beat you with their legs to win the game because you left them 55 seconds instead of 20 seconds. That is what coordinating is. The difference between good and bad coordinating. That's Lincoln Riley. Great play designer, great calls, pretty plays, gets great quarterbacks, wins Heisman's because the play design is so good. But when do you call those plays? And you can tell that is why you have struggled on defense, Bailey, because you're not a great coordinator. If you were a great coordinator, your defense wouldn't be put in such bad spots like they always have been under Lincoln Riley. Oklahoma, USC as head coach, he has struggled to manage the game as a play caller because he's so good, Bailey, just for context. They led the nation in Oklahoma in quick score plays, meaning they scored on first possession, second play of the first possession, first play of the first possession, third play of the first possession, 60-yard touchdown, 80-yard touchdown. Look at the Jalen Hurts year. Watch the game against UCLA. They had 3 first-play drive touchdowns. Against UCLA, I have the film. We can watch it. When Lincoln Riley was the head coach at Oklahoma, they played UCLA right here at the Rose Bowl. I was at the game. And guess what happened, though? Then the offense takes over for the other team and just demolishes your defense because they're on the football field for 13 minutes, 7, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. And then guess what? They scored 7-7 now, right? Oklahoma gets the ball back. First play, touchdown.
Yeah.
Guess what happens? You're up 14-7, but now your defense is right back on the football field, and they're back out there for 7, 8, 9 minutes again. So that is coordinating. Sometimes I have to eat some clock to save my defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not what a head coach and a coordinator of offense has to be able to separate the two. And I don't think Lincoln Riley has separated head coach, CEO, manager from play caller, OC, quarterback guy. And when you tie those things in, usually your defensive coordinator is just the guy that I hire to manage that side of the ball that I'm not really too concerned about. And what else hurts is special teams. Lincoln Riley's special teams has been atrocious every year he's been a head coach. Mm-hmm. Because on offense, when you score fast, you don't work a lot of special teams other than what? PAT.
Extra point.
Special teams is not, if it's not cared from the head coach in a major way, and we don't really participate and practice it from the head coach down, special teams will never be good. And USC special teams has been the bottom of the Pac-12 for the last 3 years. Oklahoma special teams was horrific. Their offense is always top-notch, but guess what? Special teams and defense is the bottom of the barrel, and that's why Oklahoma and USC hasn't got through a playoff or through a playoff run in the college football playoff, and they won't until he starts becoming a CEO head coach and not just a play designer and play caller. He better become a play coordinator with a head coach mentality, and that's what's different.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great breakdown, Coach, on Lincoln Riley's struggles to get over the hump at Oklahoma and UFC. We'll see if bringing in Rob Ryan improves the defense and whether Lincoln Riley can balance and figure it out as a play caller. But, Coach, let's get into it and go forward here. I got to ask you, sticking in the college football realm here in LA football, UCLA and Deshaun Foster hired a new offensive coordinator here, and I gotta ask you about this. I think you'll have a good breakdown of this. Tino Sunseri hired as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and UCLA is going to have an interesting road this year. They got to go to Ohio State, to Indiana, to Michigan State, to UNLV, Northwestern. They had a lot of tough road games this season for UCLA. But Coach, I think you can break down this hire pretty well. What are your thoughts on it? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a joke. Just look at the guy. That's the epitome of LA hire right here.
Why do you say that?
This is the epitome of an LA hire. Sunglasses, fucking hair in the wind, like fucking he's Elvis or some Hollywood star. They made the palm tree. Look at the palm trees behind them. Look at our logo, Slap Nation. That's a fire. By the way, that's a fucking fire burning in the Palisades behind those trees on my fucking graphic. This graphic is a Hollywood fucking cool guy. Look, him and his brother are absolute slapdicks. This guy, listen, I have no clue what he's going to do on offense. I've never even. I don't know, baby. Can you find a fucking stat line from him calling plays and give me a 1 year of fucking data on what he's accomplished as a play caller, play designer, coordinator? And listen, when we break down coordinators on offense, let me just give it real clear. I don't want to be honest to everybody out there. Offensive coordinators, if I were hiring one, I look at one stat, Bailey, and one stat only. Points scored. I don't give a fuck about your third down conversion, time of possession, all that shit. I'll manage that as the head coach. If I'm looking as now remember, it's different than Lincoln Riley as the coordinator head coach because he has to do all of it, which I just explained.
Right.
If I'm the head coach in Deshaun Foster and I'm hiring an OC, I'm looking at one thing. How many points can you score? Yeah. Can you outscore our opponent? That's all I give a fuck about. I don't care about red zone possession, percentage. I don't care about scoring red zone percentage. I don't care about third down conversion. I don't care about time possession. I don't care about any of that. How many points did you score a game? Per game?
Well, here's what I can tell you. So he was the co-offensive coordinator, Indiana. So
yeah, he was. He didn't call one play, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I figured that you would have that reaction. But we know Indiana's offense was, pretty successful last season. But was he really the catalyst of that? You can really argue that. I don't know. And so now UCLA brings him in, and what are your thoughts on Deshaun Foster? Is he in trouble at UCLA headed into year 2? They got a really tough schedule, Coach. Like I mentioned before, got to go to Ohio State and Indiana, ironically, and all these other places. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. He wasn't a play caller or designer. Do you know who his brother is, Bailey? Have you peeped that out? Have you looked it up?
Who's his brother? Give us some
Pull
insight.
up his brother. Pull up his brother. See if you can find it. I'm trying to share this on Twitter. We're on Twitter, aren't we?
Yeah. You're talking about Vinny Sincere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who that is?
No. Give me some insight.
He's a special teams guy who was.
He played for the Saints, or he was drafted by the Saints. 2014.
Yeah. Do you know who his brother is? I want you to pull up his brother and see if you could pull up his brother and maybe a famous incident or something that pulls up and just show it, because that's going to be the first funny thing you see probably. I don't know. I would think so. What does it say? Does it say anything about him at UCLA? We're doing real research here because I want to make sure that you guys in the fucking chat understand what his brother was and is.
Coach, give us some insight here. I'm trying to find what you're talking about. With his brother.
See if you can pull up his brother when he coached at UCLA.
Did his brother Vinny Sincere coach at UCLA?
I don't think. Maybe it's another brother. I don't think it's Vinny.
Oh, yeah, because Vinny Sincere didn't coach at UCLA.
Yeah, I don't think it's Vinny. He has another brother who was at. I think it was Sal.
Oh, Sal Sincere.
Yeah, look up Sal. Look up Sal. I think Sal is their dad or something. I don't know, uncle or dad, maybe. Maybe he's the dad. Is he the dad? Sal their dad?
I believe he's the dad. Yeah, he has to be the dad. He's way older.
Is Sal their dad, really?
Yeah, he's the dad. Sal is the dad, and those are his
No way, he's the dad.
Yeah.
How old is Sal? Who's the OG stat guy in here? Is Sal? Sal is the dad. That's Sal 65 now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know who Sal is?
He coached in the NFL, I believe. No.
Yeah. So do you know what he's famous for?
Mm-hmm.
I think he wasn't he with Prime last year?
I don't know if he was with Prime last year. I think it was probably the year before. I don't think he was with C last year. I think he was with them.
Sal was a Saban guy. Sal was also in the NFL when he was known for one of the crazy trip incidences where he tried to trip a motherfucker running down the sideline.
Oh, really? That's him?
As the coach. And then he was known for I would see if I can find it.
Here.
Okay, right here. I'm gonna find it right here. So then I'm gonna show you.
So I was with CU in 2023, Prime's first year.
He was. Yeah. But the incident he's known for, Bailey, is a very interesting one, and I'm gonna give some guys a little So he was influential in getting a guy named Alosi. Alosi was a special team coordinator and got a job at UCLA. He was the Jets. He was with the Jets, and he was their special team strength conditioning guy. Mm-hmm. And he tried to trip a guy running down the sideline. Sal helped Alosi get the job at UCLA. Mm. All right. This man right here got Alosi a job at UCLA as a strength conditioning coach under Jim Mora. Mm-hmm. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Alosi is the guy that fucking Puff Daddy threw a fucking dumbbell at in the weight room.
Oh, shit. Okay.
At UCLA, my buddy was the DB coach at UCLA. I happened to go down there and fucking just bullshitting with them, and all I see was cops, security, drama. Puff Daddy had a security team there. Why did he throw it at him, you ask? Because Puffy's son was playing at UCLA at the time, and it was an absolute shit show. And Sal helped Alosi get the job at UCLA, and I still think this comes back to his son getting a job at UCLA today. Today, his son now getting hired at UCLA makes perfect sense. All this shit tied in one. I think it's an absolute joke, but again, Deshaun Foster must have some sort of tie with him, and Cignetti calls the offense at Indiana.
Right.
He must have called Deshaun and said, here, man, here's the reasons why you would like a guy like him at UCLA. So,
yeah. Oh, wow. I mean,
but he has no resume. He has no resume that I know of as a true play caller or play designer. Does he? Do you see anything?
I've seen. No, I mean, nothing really stands out.
So let me ask you something. You played a long time. If you're a head coach who struggled in year one, they won a couple games late and they turned the tide a little bit at UCLA. And after the horrible, podium approach and the design and that discussion that he had and that fucking whole debacle, wouldn't you want as a player a legitimate play calling guy who has a resume, who's coordinated offenses, who can get them from point A to point B in year two when your head coach is probably a lame duck head coach, and if Deshaun Foster don't win this year, he's fired. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. If you're a player, Bailey, and you're the old lineman, and you get this guy who comes in and says, damn, you haven't really coached, and I can go on Google as a player at home in the dorm room and say, hey, man, where was this guy coached? Who has he coached? Fuck, nobody? He's been an assistant, and why is he our new OC?
Yeah.
If this is a hire that'll backfire on Deshaun Foster and will end UCLA's, I guess, resurgence before it even begins. Because he had some momentum after last year's strong finish. I thought they played well during the end of the year. Mm-hmm. That doesn't get you to the new year, though. And through offseason and all these hires, Eric Bieniemy left. And Eric Bieniemy, there's one reason he left. Again, to my Rob Ryan point, players don't accept hard, foul language and hard coaching. Yep. Eric Bieniemy gave them hard coaching. The players couldn't handle it, and Deshaun Foster had to separate from his boy and make a move. And again, we cater to the kids. Instead of coaching it, we allow it. And now Eric Bieniemy had to leave, go back to the NFL as a position coach, which I think is the best thing for him. And now we got to hire a new coach, again, to cater to a bunch of fucking prima donnas. That's the problem, dog. And so this is going to be a bad situation. We'll be covering it all season, off season, and on this show, we'll be covering fucking spring ball. Maybe we'll go down there. We'll do all kinds of things in the spring, but why wouldn't if you have gone after a real legitimate play caller that has I know a guy right now sitting around and does our show, a guy named Noel Mazzoni. Guess what? He used to coach at UCLA. Noel Mazzoni coached at fucking UCLA and had one of the best offenses in the Pac-12. But again, he's hard. They don't like that. And guess what? He's sitting at home with me.
Yeah, and that would be a great candidate, Coach. Glad you brought that up. But man, that is quite the interesting breakdown how Tino Sinceri was hired due to lineage, obviously. Yeah, we will cover this all offseason and see how UCLA's offense plays out this season with Sinceri calling the plays. But Coach, let's move forward before we get out of here. Got a couple more things I want to cover with you. Let's talk LA Rams. So Matthew Stafford obviously is in the news. A lot of rumors that he may move on. A lot of rumors that the Giants may be after Matthew Stafford. But there's a report from Albert Breer saying that people close to Matthew Stafford thinks he wants to stay in LA and play for Sean McVay. Now, I would probably guess this. And, Coach, I got to break it down from you. Do you think that Matthew Stafford should stay in LA? Do you think McVay should keep him despite having to pay him probably a lot of money? What are your thoughts on this? Go ahead.
Yeah, there's no brainer. There's no better coach-quarterback combination in the NFL, arguably, other than the guys that have won 2 out of the last 3 Super Bowls, and Andy Reid and Mahomes. I believe Andy Reid is the GOAT. I don't believe Mahomes is. This combination right here is as good as it gets, in my opinion, of anybody in the league. And that's why I want Cooper Kupp to go to Kansas City so he can tell everybody out there later on in life that Mahomes isn't even fucking close to Matthew Stafford. But what do I know? Here's the reason. Here's what I've heard, and we'll talk to Weddle about it, and we'll get him on this show from time to time. No doubt. McVay coaches him hard, contrary to belief. As a younger head coach who's not very many years removed from Matthew Stafford in age, gets after him. I've witnessed it on the sideline. I've seen him cuss his ass out coming off the field. It's crazy when you see a coach go to Matthew Stafford like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you fucking looking at? It's crazy because you know how complex that offense is. If Matthew Stafford does something that McVay cusses him out for, means there must have been some technical thing that he missed, either pre-snap, post-snap, at the line of scrimmage, during the snap, a check, something Stafford missed. Having said that, Stafford said, you know what? I can take coaching and I want to be here. And McVay knows that this guy plays with fucking broken ribs, plays with fucking through injury. We've seen him his entire career in a shithole-ass Detroit when they were bad. Played through multiple injuries, refused to come out, go back in the game to win a game, as the great clip shows that we've seen from time to time that you've seen out there where he said, nah, fuck that, put me back in and win the game. He wins the game. Stafford's a true warrior at quarterback. You cannot find this guy falling off trees. There is no Staffords floating around the NFL right now. So McVay knows this, and then Stafford takes 2 to tango. Stafford realizes it's the best play caller head coach for me at this stage on a team 1 play away from probably being Super Bowl champs today, because guarantee you they beat the Chiefs' ass just like the Eagles did, because the Rams team was rolling, and if they just ran the fucking football on 31, they fucking beat the fucking Eagles that game. In my goddamn gut opinion, they beat the Philadelphia Eagles this year in the playoffs, and that's what happened. We're talking about the Rams being Super Bowl champs right now. Now, I think they need to let him retire as a Ram. I think he needs to play 2 more years. They need to pay him and figure it out. I think Snead will figure it out. He's done a hell of a job as a GM. I think he's the most underrated GM in football. And Les Snead does a hell of a job getting those players from Verse to replacing Aaron Donald. He finds a Nakua. He also found another young wideout this year who hasn't been. He's shown glimpses. Don't be surprised. They must be very high on him to tell Cooper Kupp, hey, we're going to let you go. So I forgot his name off the top, but what's the rookie's name last year? Perkins or fuck?
Are you talking about Perkins? Are you talking about Tutu Atwell on that roster?
No, there's a receiver that they just got as a rookie last year for the Rams. Some of you guys in the chat may know. He's a rookie wide receiver.
Chat, help us out here. Talking about Whittington?
Nah, Whittington.
Yeah, Whittington. Yeah, Jordan Whittington. Yeah.
He's going to be good. And they must see something in him. And he's also like a Nakua, height-wise, size-wise, strong hands. Jordan Whittington can be a guy to say, hey, Cooper, you're hurting, you're old, you get injured a lot. We got to make a move and go younger. And if I think Devontae Adams is an older replacement for Cooper, then that's what they'll do. They'll bring in the veteran Devontae Adams to go along with Nakua, Whittington, good tight ends, good running back, replace some guys up front and get better O-line-wise. Stafford wants to retire in L.A. with his wife doing podcasts and shit. I'm sure of it. Stafford would be a fool to try to go shop the market at this age. And what team are you going to go to? If you're going to get traded, guess where you're going? A bad team.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? The Giants?
Or horrible.
The Jets? The Jets? The Raiders? Are you really putting your fucking I'm a Pete Carroll guy, but there's no way I'm leaving the Rams for the Raiders and think I'm going to have a better opportunity right now at my age.
Yeah, facts.
The Rams are your best option. The Rams are your best. The 49ers are just falling apart and before our very eyes. Seahawks have a lame duck head coach, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the Arizona Cardinals.
You're hilarious.
So those three teams, you're in the perfect league. You're in the perfect league to get a first round bye, possibly, if not a bye, host a first round game as they did against Minnesota this year. And this is a perfect scenario. I love Cooper Kupp, man, everything he stands for, but he was old and hurt, man, and McVay has to make business decisions with a guy like Cooper Kupp because everything I know, they love Cooper Kupp. Cooper loved L.A. He does not want to leave, but he understands the business at the end of the day. And Cooper can retire or he can move on, but he has to be traded, though, Bailey.
Yeah, and two things. I think that the Rams, for a replacement for Cooper Kupp, I think there's a guy coming from Cooper Kupp's alma mater that they might look at. Just going to say that now. But let's talk about Cooper Kupp and possible landing spots because, like you mentioned, I think he's had some injury struggles, but I think he has more in the tank here. Let me ask you: do you think the Chargers are a good spot for landing spot for Cooper Kupp in that Harbaugh kind of ground and pound offense? But I think they lack a receiver. They have McConkey, but I think they could use a Cooper Kupp in that offense for sure. Let me ask you: what do you think is the best landing spot for Cooper Kupp? Go ahead.
Shit, man. The best landing spot to me is the Chiefs. Yeah. And I'm selfish. I want to see him there because I want to see them fucking – I want to see how he doesn't do anything because the guy can't get him the ball at quarterback. That's what I want to see because he ain't going to be the guy to get shovel passes and shit from Patrick Mahomes. Right. To be honest, out of that list, I don't know if Harbaugh wants to start over with a older guy who's injury prone. They just had that guy in Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Harbaugh took the job and said, Mike Williams, you got to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody with a younger, highly paid quarterback is willing to risk an older, injury-prone wide receiver. So let's just go down the list. There's a team that's not on this list who I'm hearing rumblings of where he might end up. And I'll tell you who it is in a second. But I don't think that the Chargers with Harbaugh and a team trying to rebuild is willing to go get an older guy. I think they rather have a Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill. They'd rather go get a speedster to go along with McConkey and that O-line that they're developing and worry about some other things because they got to worry about Mack and other kind of guys on defense, what they do on defense and other things. I don't think they're going to go with an older wideout because I think Harbaugh came into the job saying, Mike Williams, you got to go. I got to get younger. I'll take the hit this first year, and they still went to the playoff. So I think Cooper's off the board there. Steelers, I think Cooper will deny any type of trying to go there. I
agree.
They don't know who their quarterback will be. They don't know if he don't want to go play with Justin Fields, dog.
And I don't even think Justin Fields on the roster. Who knows what they're going to do at quarterback?
Yeah. Who I don't see on here, Cowboys. So to the Cowboys, I would take Steelers, Chargers to the bottom of this list. I would put Cowboys right now at 1.
Really? Why do you say that?
That's on this list. I got my favorite number 1 that I'm going to give you right now. But I think if you were to reshuffle this list, I would put Cowboys as a more feasible situation because CeeDee Lamb will take all the double coverage. I could put Kupp on the backside with a pretty good tight end. And Dak, during the regular season, can at least get him the football.
That's true. That is true.
Okay, so then do that. Now, the best landing spot this offseason, in my opinion, is the Texans.
Houston. Why do you say
And here's
that?
why. And I'm hearing rumblings that it could happen. If you go look at research and go look up who was the quarterback coach and who was the play designer for McVay in LA, he just got the OC job for the Houston Texans.
Oh, okay. That's big news.
That is rumored to be the fit. And I think with Tank Dell hurt, my kid, not knowing when he's back. And then you got we don't know about Diggs. Diggs is out here fucking with rap
Cardi B, like, I don't know, who knows?
Yeah, he's fucking with Cardi B and shit. So is Diggs really all in on this thing? I go in and say, Cooper, you come here to go along with our main man, Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz, and we got Mixon. We have a hell of an offense with a new play caller that's going to run similar things. I want to see C.J. Stroud run a similar offense to Sean McVay and the Rams. Put his big, tall, long ass with a big-time arm on the edge, move him out, get him on some boot naked, some waggle, and now you got Cooper Kupp in that system with a play caller that is familiar with Cooper Kupp to keep him upright and healthy. And then you add a Tank Dell to the mix later when he's back healthy in the slot and get rid of Diggs. We've seen Diggs as a
Diggs is a free agent, so I think he's probably gone. Or I mean, we'll see what ends up with him. But
yeah. So I think we do it, man. I say we do it.
Interesting. I can see that. Obviously, brought in Kaylee, the offensive coordinator from LA. And CJ Stroud is probably top quarterback, top 3 to get him the ball at least. They definitely need a weapon with Tank Dell out. Nico Collins, obviously the top target there. Dalton Schultz at tight end. I'm surprised you don't see Cooper Kupp going to LA, the Chargers, just because he might want to stay in LA. We saw how emotional he was when they announced that the Rams were moving on from him. I'm just going to ask you, is there any shot that he goes to the Chargers just because of that, or it's just a business at that point?
Yeah, it's a two-way street, though. I mean, I don't think Harbaugh – I think if that was the case, Harbaugh would have kept Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. He wants younger. He wants younger. The business isn't to make sure that the player is happy and he doesn't have to move houses and shit. I don't think Harbaugh gives a fuck about Cooper Kupp's housing arrangement and if he wants to leave and go live in Cincinnati. Here's the issue. To me, the best 2 fits for him are Houston because of the play caller and the QB and the offensive fit. Dallas on this list. And what happens to T. Higgins in Cincinnati, I would say Cincinnati is in a top 3 list because Joe Burrow is another ball spinner. And I would like to see him go to Kansas City. In my personal fit, I don't think it'll happen because Andy Reid is not notorious for going to get guys like him. The only big receiver body that he goes with is a guy he's familiar with, and that's fucking Juju Smith. Yeah. So everyone else, he kind of goes, if you look at the system that he has, look at the wide receivers in that system. Xavier Worthy, a speedster, small guy that can get off that goes vertical and we can run reverses with. Mm-hmm. Nikhil Hardman or whatever, another guy that can play multi positions, get in the slot. I can do multiple things with him. Tyreek Hill, who he had and was successful. Other than that, what big, long wideouts do the Chiefs usually use? They tried DeAndre Hopkins. They put his ass in retirement after the Super Bowl, basically. I think he said he's done. He's a guy similar to Cooper Kupp, in my opinion, as far as length, hand-eye, route running. Cooper Kupp and DeAndre Hopkins are very similar. Injury-prone, older, on the other side of greatness.
Sure.
So I don't know if Andy wants to go back and get an older, wily veteran. So I don't know about that. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. So if not, then I like Cincinnati, Houston, Dallas. That's just my opinion. And I'll be honest, I'll throw a wild card in there. New England. because Drake May's early success, I think that could be a dark horse if they have something that McVay wants in return in LA.
Yeah, and we'll stay tuned to see. I'm sure come March 12th in free agency, and Kupp's going to be moved somewhere. It's just where and all the logistics figured out. But I can see New England too with Drake May. I think they definitely need another weapon. And I can see Vrabel going after a guy like Kupp. Houston, your theory, I think there as well. And then I would laugh if they traded him to Kansas City just so you could all next season talk about how you think Stafford's better than Mahomes. But we'll cover this offseason and see where Cooper Kupp ends up. But man, Coach, great first show on this fine Monday here on Slap Nation.
Hey, you want to give the fans? You might as well give the fans that one last topic with Antonio Gates real quick, since we can make another video. Well, before we end it, first show of this new show, Slap Nation. Make sure I appreciate Gary, Lucy, Joe, Sean, all you guys becoming members of the new channel. We'll be taking phone calls as well. This isn't a debate show, by the way, to some slapdick in the chat. I don't know who it was, but anyway. This ain't a debate show. This is a sports show that we're going to break down LA fanatics who talks about West Coast football and LA sports that a lot of people aren't doing for some reason. So I don't understand why there isn't more of a show. We're going to have an actual film breakdown. We're going to actually have guests on. All LA, West Coast. That's what it is. It's not a fucking debate show, you fucking idiot. So anyway, Bailey, let's talk about Antonio Gates real quick before we leave.
Let's talk about Antonio Gates getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. Obviously, a Charger legend, played two ways and played basketball player as well in college. But Coach, what are your thoughts on Antonio Gates getting inducted to the Hall of Fame? Go ahead.
He shits on Travis Kelce. Absolutely shits on him. I don't understand this whole Travis Kelce thing. As Travis Kelce's gone over this hump as one of the greatest and all this, I just don't see it. I think, again, it's like the LeBron fanboy queendom fan base, Swiftie, propaganda that gets shoved down our throat. What have you done for me lately? Attitude that we live in. What have you done for me lately? Anointing everybody so quickly is why Travis Kelce made this crazy rise. He blocks nobody. He never has blocked anybody. He's very intermittent as far as his consistency. This guy showed up every day. He blocked the edge. He ran routes like wide receivers. He ran reverses and did other things. He was a crack. Fucking PO8 safeties down the field and depleted them. This guy did everything. By the way, never played football until his last year in high school and college, and was a fucking unbelievable talent in the NFL. Yeah. So Weddle played with them, talks about how great the cat is, character-wise, everything else. All these guys that I know play with them, Marcellus Wiley and everybody. He shits on Travis Kelce. So I do not believe the Hall of Fame got it right with everybody, but they got it right with him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. He was Philip Rivers' top target in San Diego for a long time. And yeah, hell of an athlete, basketball player. Like, it's always, he's one of those stories, basketball players going to football. Man, yeah, he was a hell of an athlete and tough to cover. And he did it all, blocking and everything else at that tight end position, Coach. And yeah, I agree with you. I think he is better than Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, I think it's the recency bias, so to speak. And you know how the Chiefs queen of fan bases, they're going to put him as the GOAT along with Patrick Mahomes over anybody, no matter what, your eyes see. So I'm with you on that as well.
Hey, Bailey, Sean Waffle, Lucy, Joe Accord, I believe. Let me see who else. Gary S. J. Ram. You guys are members of the show already. So you guys, I'm going to give you guys one of these slap t-shirts, complimentary of the show for being a member. I'll do that to the first 10 members. So if you guys member up right now, I'll send you one of these Slap Nation or Slap t-shirts or hoodie. But I'm going to give away the t-shirt, but we will have the hoodies. We have the hats, all that shit on CoachJBStore.com. So make sure you email CoachJBShow
Yeah.
at Gmail. The Coach JB Show at Gmail. Send me your address, and I will send you a T-shirt. Since you guys are the first members and the most loyal guys, like you always have been, but the first 10 members that become members today, I'll send you guys a T-shirt. So become a member, even if the show ends. Become a member and send us your address at thecoachjbshow@gmail.com, and we will send it to you complimentary of the new show, Slap Nation. Bailey and I are going to have a uptake on all the West Coast sports, man, and obviously the Dodgers repeating as Major League Baseball champs. Yes, they will repeat, and their spring training is about to start in Arizona. Actually, they're there right now. Clayton Kershaw is going to have I didn't even realize this, Bailey. 18th year in LA.
Yeah, time flies, man. That's just crazy.
By the way, teammate of Matthew Stafford in high school.
Really? I did not know that. That's a interesting little tidbit.
And our boy Alex Stein.
Alex Stein. Small world. Damn.
So the Dodgers, the Kings, LA Kings are having a great year this year in the NHL. They're right up there in the point lead in the NHL. They'll be a playoff team this year, so we'll see the LA Kings. And then who cares a fuck about the Clippers? We will not have any discussion about the Clippers whatsoever on this show. We'll talk about a little bit of Lakers, hopefully until they get rid of LeBron and his fucking shitty fucking nepotism hire son. And we'll see, man. We'll see. But it's all LA. GT Hamilton, make sure you email the Coach AB Show at Gmail. Send us your address, and we'll send you a Slap T-shirt. Send us your size and address. Size and address, okay? Don't just and then don't leave a fucking address without the zip code, you fucking slapdicks.
Yeah.
Put the zip code. So shout out, Bailey. Good show. First time. We'll be back next Monday after the regular Coach AB Show. We'll be off this week. We're back next week for the Coach AB Show. And make sure you follow Bailey Price Media as well on YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. So
yeah, great show. Those watching, we appreciate you becoming members. Like JB mentioned, email coachjbshow@gmail.com with the details on your address, very detailed. And we'll be back next Monday. Make sure you stay tuned to all the clips here on this show. Show love and become a member. That super chat button is open if you'd like to donate. I will be live tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern on Bailey Price Media with Stanford offensive lineman Levi Rogers. We're going to talk some college football, NFL, and more. So be sure to tune in that tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Man, Coach, great debut show, great premiere show on Slap Nation. Any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
No, the only Clipper we'll talk about is Kawhi Leonard and how much of a bust he's been since winning his last championship, because the load management has absolutely destroyed the NBA, and that's Adam Silver's problem, his alien-looking ass. That's the only thing we'll talk about as far as the Clippers go, and Norman Powell being their best player, not Kawhi Leonard, and how they knew something in LA, because guess what? They shipped Paul George off, and guess what happened? Paul George has been an absolute fucking no-show in Philadelphia for the 76ers. But what do I know? We're going to talk about all that and more right here on the Slap Nation, the greatest news sports show on planet Earth. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you for both shows. Appreciate you guys. Peace. Hey, well, fuck it. I'll go home tonight. I'll drink my yak and smoke my stick, and I'll get it back cracking.